What's up, fellow dads? I just wanted to make a quick little video here on how a turbo operates. Some people probably already know this, but if you don't, that's why you click the video. This is going to be a short and sweet explaining how a turbo works, how you control the thing, and how a turbo makes so much more power than a naturally aspirated engine. So here's an engine, right? LS 5.3, probably seen a million of them. If you don't know about them, then you're new to the car scene. Exhaust, here's your manifold. Exhaust comes out of the manifold, out of the heads. It comes down in this pipe, both sides, both manifolds. Here, this one too. You can see it down there a little bit. Comes into the bottom of this turbo for the turbine housing. This turbine housing has a wheel in it. That wheel spins when exhaust pressure hits it. As the exhaust pressure hits it, it spins this side and it gets pushed out this side here, the exhaust side. So you have your crossover, which is like your pre-turbo hot side, and then you have your exhaust, or your downpipe is typically what it's called. Inside of here, there is a shaft. As the exhaust spins this wheel, the shaft spins this wheel. This wheel, in turn, sucks air in at the same, or I don't know how the wheels stack up as, but they are one-to-one. This is fixed to this wheel here. This wheel then spins, sucking in air and compressing it. This is the compressor housing into this side of the turbo. The air then goes through the cold side, comes down through here, you can't see it, comes in, comes around in here, and then goes through this intercooler. This creates a lot of heat. So part of what you fight on a turbo is mitigating the heat. Typically guys want to run a turbo blanket, you want to run an intercooler. So this car is on E85, which is pretty similar to pump gas in that you have to have, or you want to have, some sort of intercooler. So this is an intercooler. This will take whatever 150, 170 degree temps that this is pushing out, and this drops it probably 50 to 60 degrees. So from 170 degrees, we go to 120. Then the airflow comes around here, comes up through this side, and gets shoved into the intake. Your boost pressure is the amount of pressure that is in this intake side. This intake side pressure is simply a restriction of whatever the motor can handle. That's why you can run, a different turbo on a different boost pressure will make different horsepower, because it depends on the heads, it depends on the intake, it depends on the cubic inch. It's just, boost is simply a multiplier of whatever the engine can do naturally aspirated. So hopefully that answers some people who have questions about turbos and how they operate. Okay, so here's another thing. So if you want less or more boost, generally 9 times out of 10, you use what's called a wastegate. It's down here, you can't really see it. There's the top of it. That wastegate controls how much exhaust gas makes it to this turbine side and the turbine wheel. The less gas that makes it to the less gas that makes it to the turbine side, the less exhaust pressure is rotating the turbo, the less shaft speed you have, which means the less boost you have. And it's simply a balancing act with the intake boost level and it opening and closing the wastegate to kind of, even out how much boost pressure the engine is currently running. So that is as far as the exhaust and your cold side. Now, keeping the turbo itself cool. I think a lot of OEM manufacturers use coolant to keep the exhaust cool. A lot of these aftermarket turbos like this one, VS Racing, use oiling. So they have to be oiled some way or shape or form as well, whether that be coolant, whether that be oil, whether that be some of the nicer, more expensive turbos, you can use a grease and they don't care how you're mounted. So this has an oil feed from above the filter. It feeds oil through the turbo, through that shaft. It helps keep the shaft cool, and it also obviously lubricates it. It goes down there and then it drains back to the pan and it cycles. So that's what keeps the turbo cool-ish. The con of that is it heats up your oil quite a bit, and turbo cars generally have a higher, much higher oil temperature than other similar vehicles. Quick little video explaining how turbos work. A turbo works the same exact way, no matter the application. That is how they operate, very simply. Obviously, your OEM manufacturers are going to have different forms of doing this. Some have the manifold and the turbo bolted exactly on the side of the head and bolted directly to the manifold, and there's a million ways you can go about it. The basic is exhaust gas is in, spins a shaft, exhaust gas is out. Then on the other side of the shaft, the intake air is getting sucked in, compressed, and forced into the intake to make a multiplier, which is your boost for whatever the engine can do naturally aspirated. So I hope this helps. If you like this video and you learned something, like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.